Good evening, Wilmington. My name is Betsy Aguirre, and this is Shut Up and Listen. I know the title's a little maybe in your face. You might feel like you're being berated or maybe yelled at. Well, good, because I'm about to get real honest with you guys. A majority of our students feel like that almost every day, and I'm mad about it. I'm mad that for years, groups of students have felt like outsiders at their own universities, where they pay just as much, if not more in some cases, to be at. I'm mad that we continue to ignore the wants and needs of our students and the talents that they bring to our campus. I'm mad that we continue to say we recognize the liberal arts, but brush off or belittle the students who want to pursue it. I'm mad that there are still people who fight to have their voices and talents heard. And quite frankly, Wilmington, I think it's time we ought to shut up and listen to them. It's time to listen to the talents that are brought to our campus and our city. It's time to listen to that diversity in the liberal arts education and break out of whatever comfort zone we find ourselves in by sticking to what we see as familiar. All right, that might have been a little more intense than I had intended, but you know what? We're all friends here at Shut Up and Listen, and we just want to help you expand your horizons and see what Wilmington truly has to offer. We're here to make sure everyone can be heard. With that being said, let's move forward. The comedic arts include a strong history of writing, performance, and production, and perhaps one of the most hands-on in education of the arts. On top of that, the craft explores historical, cultural, and theoretical dimensions of comedy as a global art form, and each set and comedian being completely different from the next, as each comedian brings in their own experiences to the stage. Tonight, we're covering all the hot topics, from racism in America to how to get the most out of a gym membership. So sit tight, Wilmington. Time to get ready and shut up and listen.
It's time to shut up and listen with Betsy Aguirre. Tonight's guests, Ali Coleman, Wills Maxwell Jr.,
Coming in hot from Atlantic City, comedian Ali Coleman has been taking the city by storm with her performances all over the city. Tonight, we have the privilege to have her in studio with us. Ladies and gentlemen, time to shut up and listen to Ali Coleman.
UNCW, how you doing, guys? Yes, it is so good to be on campus. I've never been here before. I had to ask my neighbor on how to get here, and he goes, "Why do you live at Campus Evolution Villages if you don't go to UNCW?" And I said, "Why do you go to UNCW when you know you're not going to graduate?" So I guess we're both holding on to ghosts, guys. No, it is really good to be here. I had to take some time off of work to do it, which is amazing, because any excuse I can have to get out of there is great. At my job, I never really thought I'd even get it because I had to take a drug test. And a little bit about me, I've been smoking weed for such a long time that when I straighten my hair, I get high. So yeah, that was a really big surprise when I got the call back. At my job, though, they call me by my full name, which is Alicia. And Alicia's like one of those names that could be spelled like a half a dozen ways, and mine just happens to be spelled phonetically. So I'm pretty sure that I'm an affirmative action hire because they're racist and they let me racially catfish them. But, what are you gonna do? It's weird, in the workplace down south, you really feel like you gotta be a vigilante against racism. I was dealing with a customer and I had a coworker come out and drop something off, and then he went in the back and the customer asked me if he was Mexican. And I got really offended by this. So when the customer left, I found my coworker and I said, "Hey, do you believe this guy? He had the nerve to ask me if you were Mexican." And I told him, "No, you're Filipino." My coworker looked at me and he said, "But I am Mexican." So now I'm racist. That's how it works. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a gross person. Disgusting. I never really want anybody to walk me to my car because I don't want them to see the small recycling center I just drive around town in. It's got 4 inches of dog hair on it, so I'm doing good things. It's the winter time, so I haven't really been shaving too much. It's not that bad, except it's been causing some problems in my relationship. My boyfriend asked me when I was gonna start shaving again, and I said, "Well, when are you gonna start flossing?" So it's a stalemate. There we go. But I will shave eventually. It's just gotten so long that almost look like Eugene Levy all over. But when I do shave, though, I am going to go to the gym to do it. Because that's why I spend $20 a month to clog their drains and not mine. I don't know if you guys like to self-reflect at all, but I do, especially like in the shower. I like to stand there and let scalding hot water just like run all over me as I put my hands through my hair so I can look at my hand and then stick it on the wall. Because that's where it lives now. It's like a graffiti tag of DNA. So when I house sit, it's really nice because that's how they get to know that I was there. It's weird. Getting older, and people don't tell you that you're going to go through a second puberty. It's weird. My acne is like the worst it's ever been. Like I hate my mom. And like I'm plucking weird black hairs out of places I've never plucked before. So that's great. We can meet up later and talk about that more. It's weird about getting older because then like all your friends decide to like start having kids. Which is fine. I mean, like they say that parenting is a full-time job, but like I don't want to work in the first place, so I'm definitely not going to apply to that. I was at my friend's house and she handed me a baby, and all I could be is like, why would you hand me a flesh bag filled with mucus? Like this is worse than flubber. And like the baby was like really like looking at me, like it was trying to like look through me and like look through my soul. And I felt bad for a second, like scowling at it. But then I realized like it's never gonna contribute to my social security. And it's gonna grow up to be a YouTuber. And that's the job that I want. So I hate that baby. It's weird, like with social media, like I'm trying to like be less active. Like I'm that type of user that likes to be supportive. Like I like to comment on people's posts, you know, like their pictures. I had a friend and she was looking for advice to get what to give a baby that's only been breastfed. And it took everything in me not to comment bleach. It's not that I don't think that parenting is for me. I just don't think I want to be a mom. Like, I'd rather be a dad. Because, like, what's every other weekend and every Wednesday, right? That's something I could commit to. Speaking of dads, there is a new brand of condom that has just come out recently that is, like, exclusively marketed to women. It's got really discreet packaging. It comes in a Lindor truffle box. I don't know about you, but like at my CVS, I'm not getting slut-shamed. I march right up there with my condoms and my ice cream, and I say, one of these two things are gonna happen tonight. The cashier looks at me and says, why not both? And then we high-five. Thank you guys so much. My name's Allie Coleman. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Hello. Good evening. It's nice to see everybody here today. I'm here selling crap. Good afternoon. This is God. Hello, all. Good evening. My name is Jed Caton, but you can call me Uncle Jed. I got a new hat's not flying off into here, and I'm out here in this here parking lot selling GMP. That is a gold medal performance, a production team out of UNCW. Let's go take a look at their team members. Over here we have the first of our crew, the camera operator. I call her AK-47. Those are microphones, so maybe she's actually audio. AK, let's head over to our next team member. Do you know where they are? Exactly, right over there. We've got floor directors. We've got graphics. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Take, hold on a minute. Roll it again. We've got microphone. You're fired. You're fired. We don't have microphone operators anymore. We've got camera assistants. And for a limited time only, we've got... Son of... I told y'all I didn't want the in here anymore. Get it out of here before I'm gonna quit. I swear to God I'll do it. It's my only job, but I'll quit. I don't need it anymore. All of this for a limited time. We are cutting our prices in half. Yeah! Come on down to the abandoned Kmart parking lot today to get you a GMP production. We'll be out here selling our team members just like we are today. Hopefully there'll be more people. I'll see you here. I'm Uncle Jed.
Local comedian and host of WWAY's What Did We Miss is here to keep it rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to shut up and listen to Wills Maxwell Jr.
Thank you. Appreciate that. How goes it? I'm Wills Maxwell. A little bit about me. I like doing stand-up. I've been doing this for a while, but it's weird that I do this at all because I don't like attention. I don't like people focusing on me. I like to blend in. You know, I'm a conformist. I'm a social chameleon. I'm such a conformist. The only reason I'm black is because everyone else in my family is. That is everything that went into that. I just didn't want to buck that trend. I'm a fairly anxious person. I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. I think before I was born, I was in the womb like, yeah, things are good now, but I could tell the bottom's gonna fall out any second. Hold on tight. So in my life, like, anxiety just plays in different ways. Recently, I was hanging out with some friends. We went to an Irish bar. One of our friends plays in an Irish band, so we went to go watch him. And the second we stepped into this Irish bar, anxiety spoke up. It was like, hey, Wills, you're the only black person here, and they don't want you to be here. And I was like, anxiety, none of that. We're not gonna have that. We're having a good time. We're just gonna drink Smittix and sing songs about fishmongers and prostitutes, and have a good time. None of that. So we put it aside, had a great time. The night was awesome. The band was awesome. But then at the end of the night, this lady comes up to me, just drunk, and she gets right in my face. She goes, I have a question for you. And immediately I'm like, it's about to come up. And she gets to my face, she's like, I got a question for you. The Civil War. And I was like, oh no. She's taking it all the way back. So now I'm bracing myself for whatever she's about to ask me. I'm running facts in my head like Antietam, 1864, Gettysburg, 1863. Wherever this is going, I'm getting ready. She's like, the Civil War. Did you agree with Captain America or Iron Man? I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank goodness. We can talk about this. Cap, sure, yeah. Because I'm over here thinking that the first thing people notice about me when I'm in public is that I'm black. Turns out it's that I'm a nerd, and I can live with that. She sized me up appropriately. She's like, that guy has a lot of strong feelings about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's talk about the Superhuman Registration Act real quick. Because things have been tense. It's been a tense year. Last year, we had all these Nazis on TV, and they were in front of the statues like, leave these Confederate statues alone. We want a white ethno-state, a country with no minorities. Leave these Confederate statues alone. It's like, yeah, but guys, the Confederates brought black people to America. You have the wrong heroes. That's a statue of Robert E. Lee. If you're like, hey, Robert, do you want more or less black people in America? He'd be like, well, I am expecting a higher crop yield than usual. I could do with a few more. I can feel you pull back. I get it. Because this thing is like, Confederate statues have been in this town, just advice for you guys, my Wilmington people. If you play Pokemon Go downtown, the Confederate statues give you more Pokeballs than any other stops. That is far and away the most I've ever profited from racism. That's the best deal I've gotten out of the whole thing. It's like, that's my reparations. No, my reparations is 40 acres and a Mewtwo. Sometimes I'll take like jokes I've written and I'll post a screenshot of it online for people to look at, and that opens it up for people to make comments about my face. And I had someone comment on one of my pictures like, man, Black Bob Ross is hilarious. And that concerned me a little bit, because the only way I looked like Bob Ross in that picture was that I had an afro. So this person was like so unfamiliar with black people that his reference point for afros is the white guy that hosted a painting show on PBS. That's where he thinks the afro came from. I like to think about like the first time he watches a Jackson 5 video, he's like, man, this is crazy. All 5 of them have the Bob Ross. Michael, Tito, Marlon, all have the Bob Ross. This is nuts. I'm glad you guys are cool with me making jokes about race. I do it in my act a lot. I also do it in real life. I had a job where I worked in a movie theater as an usher. We're the people, we pick up trash while the credits are rolling. I didn't like that. I didn't like picking up people's trash. But there was one movie that came out that year I never had to clean up after. That was the year The Help came out. I never had to clean up after The Help. it was nice because the credits would be rolling and there would be a gospel song, and I would just sing along to the song while I was cleaning. You know, it was like, you don't knock, just walk on in. The door to heaven's there. And the thing is, though, I wouldn't sing it like the way that song was playing. I would take on like a deep, mournful, I've been in the fields all day tone. Like, you don't knock, just walk on in. The door to heaven's there, yes, Lord. There's love and joy for you. And that would get people to pick up their trash every time. It would always work. And by the time they start picking up their trash, it's too late. I'm having fun. I had picked up my trash, and I saw people pick up their trash. I got in front of them, I was like, no. You've already watched your movie. You just go and enjoy your day. This is my burden to bear, to share the whole day through. One of my favorite movies, best movie experiences came out this past year. I saw Get Out. I loved it. It was easily the scariest movie experience I'd ever had, though. Because most horror movies, you know, it's different. Most horror movies, you have like a vampire movie, and then the lights come up and there's no vampires. You're back to the real world. Or it's a zombie movie. Movie ends, lights come up, there's no zombies. I saw Get Out, the lights came up, I was surrounded by white people. And I was like, I need to get out. I need to get out now. All right, I'm Wills Maxwell. Thank you guys very much.
Hey guys, welcome back to Shut Up and Listen. I have Allie and Wills back in the studio. Thank you guys so much for coming in once again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, so talking before, it seems like you guys already know each other. Can you talk about how y'all met?
Well, Wills, you've been doing stand-up for...
Yeah, I've been with Dead Crow and Nut Street for about 4 years, and then Allie started coming around into the club and doing stand-up at Dead Crow about 2-3 years ago.
No, it'll be 2 years in May.
You're just good enough that it feels like you've been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah, it's easy being like one of 2 women. They really just push you up.
Well, it was a freakish thing because it was like the same time that like normally people stink when they start doing comedy, and like Allie came in with like a group of guys that like immediately, like this class of newer comics were all great. Like immediately, it was like, oh, this is nice. This is new and it's fun and it's awesome when they're just good already. It's fun for the audience.
Awesome.
Thank you, that's very nice
Yeah.
to say.
That's so sweet. We're all
I think
friends.
you're so funny.
Thanks. I think you're funny.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Good job.
How did you guys get into stand-up? Did you have any like idols or anyone you looked up to growing up or anything?
Well, like I wrote for about 5 or 6 years, just like on my own, and I never really imagined performing ever. Like I grew up in a household that was really into comedy, like a lot of sketch comedy and stand-up specials. So it was just kind of like growing up in that environment, like you see other people do it, but you never really think that you could do it yourself.
Right.
And then I moved down here, and it was the kind of like a way to like cope with like being homesick and like rub it in my brother's face. And I'm like, hey, you should be doing this, but I'm doing it. I'm like, how's your cubicle?
Girl power. Wills, what about you?
My family would watch like Showtime at the Apollo and all these like Comedy Central half hours together. And it was just something that I always knew I wanted when I was a kid, which is a very distressing thing to to be a parent and have a 9-year-old be like, yeah, I'm gonna be a comedian. And my parents were like, no, you're gonna like go to school. You're gonna be a journalist. It was a very distressing thing for my parents to like have a kid. It's like, no, I just want to be funny in front of people. They're on board now. But yeah, like I started doing comedy when I was 18. The very first time I did stand-up was for my high school talent show at the last day of school. So I got to go up in front of all my classmates, and it was the instant feeling of like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do with my life. It was the most instant gratification I've ever felt.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. How would you guys describe your sense of humor then? Can you describe your sense of humor?
Dark.
Perfect.
Yeah. But I've kind of like pulled away from that though, because I guess it's like a show of the times. Mm-hmm. People are coming to comedy clubs and coming down there to Dead Crow to get away from everything that's going on in the world. So to pull away from doing more topical humor and doing more observant humor as something that's really like evolved like within the scene, I think too.
Yeah.
So it's really just made me a better comedian, because instead of like me preparing stuff because I want to talk about it. I'm just like, well, what did they want to hear? You know, and what is going to make them keep coming back? Because then otherwise, I won't be able to pay my rent. So.
That's important. So, I'm sorry, Wills, keep going.
No,
I didn't mean to.
that's fine. I was just, I always try to do like a blend of like anecdotal stuff, like just telling stories from my life, but also do some kind of social stuff. Just because my main thing is, for however long I'm on stage, I want people to know what it's like to be me. Like if I got 5 minutes, I want the audience to have 5 minutes of knowing what it's like to be Wills. So that way, you know, we're in Wilmington, we perform at the club, most of the audience is like middle-aged white people. They kind of like get 5 minutes of what it's like being a millennial black man in an age that is not fun to be, not that there ever has been the perfect time for it, but just like getting a little taste of like what it's like to be me, but hopefully they're laughing. It's not, I don't want to beat people over their head, I just want them to laugh and just have a different perspective for a few minutes.
Right, oh, I like that. And so you guys mentioned, so you're from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and then you're from Raleigh.
Yes.
How is Wilmington different?
Completely different. You know, growing up in Atlantic City, like it's just casinos, and then so it's an industry that promotes luxury with the dissonance of poverty right outside. So to be down here, even though we are still the same kind of, like Atlantic City and Wilmington have the same kind of economy where it's very tourism based, it's whiter here and warmer, so that's the main difference.
Mostly my experience has just been that Wilmington's the only place I've been an adult in, if I can be bold enough to put that label on myself. I grew up in Raleigh and came out here once I was 18, but they're both very similar. They're both like just rapidly growing towns. I'm just very much in love with the art scene here.
Right.
I like going to like see the poets here and the musicians here. It's just a very much rapidly growing, creative, supportive community.
Okay, I see that, yeah. And Allie, so I've seen your sets on YouTube, and you talked about like difficulties for women compared to men, like just like peeing in public and stuff like that. So what other difficulties like are we facing, especially like in comedy? Like how is it like being a woman in comedy?
Well, I am in a very peculiar situation because I would say we have about 45 overall in the comedy community.
About that many people who
come
tell
out
people that they're comedians.
About that many. And there's literally myself and one other female comedian.
Wow.
And she's moving. So now I get to be prom queen until some other girl comes along. It's weird to be a part of a boys club because you kind of have to check your feelings and kind of not get offended by just the men around you just making like low-hanging fruit jokes.
Right.
So it just makes you a better writer when you are able to like really do something personal and like dig at somebody else. It's like they're just a bunch of women, you know, just in men's clothing.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like a little bit too, there's not as many opportunities for women in comedy. Like I've done shows in Raleigh and they have a much bigger women-based scene, which is so wonderful, and I'm desperately trying to figure out how we can really promote more women to come out to the club and like that it is a safe space, you know, like that they're not going to be that mean to you. Come on, just Regina George it out and you'll be fine.
Oh, well, I need to do that some more.
Yeah.
And then, Wills, so you bring up so many controversial stuff in your set, like racism and the Confederate flag, and so what's it like? How do you go about that?
I just pretty much try to filter through how I'm feeling on it. Like most of the stuff I say to it is just an immediate reaction and an honest reaction to living with it. I don't want to politicize it. I'm not trying to like be like take a liberal slant or I'm just trying to take my slant on it. Okay. Like you brought up the flag. Like I just brought up like how the flag affects me personally. I know, like my joke is just I see a restaurant that flies it, I don't go in that restaurant. So it's helpful because I don't want to be in there anyway.
Right.
So I just try to like filter everything through how I just want people to see, know how it feels like to be me. Because I understand that, you know, for everyone else that sees a flag or a statue, they see it differently than how I see it, which is just like a symbol of oppression. So I just try to make sure that I get like my viewpoint and not try to take a slant otherwise.
All right. And then, so like, where can guys, not guys, but where can viewers see you guys next? Do you guys have any plans coming up?
I'm part of Pineapple Shaped Lamps, and we have a block on Wednesday nights at Dead Crow Comedy Room. So that's every Wednesday. That starts at 8. It's $3 at the door. I will be hosting for Sam J on the 23rd and the 24th of this month, and then I have a show in Raleigh on March 2nd at Neptune. So I'll be around.
Oh, I love Neptune.
I'll be at the Dead Crow Comedy Room first weekend of March, and starting soon, we're going to have a new monthly showcase over at Theater Now, which I'll have more details about soon if people will pay attention to my social stuff, and we'll have all that information there.
You heard it here first, guys, and until then, you can follow Wills and Allie on their social media platforms for their latest updates and performances. Thank you guys again so much for coming in. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for everyone coming in for the live studio audience, and for everyone at home watching, remember it's never too late to just shut up and listen. We'll see you guys next time.